I'm on my way back to Ohio right now. I just left the sale about 20 minutes ago. I told James I could give him a ride there, but I can't give him a ride back. And it didn't matter. Curtis and Jason and everybody was there. Everybody in Ontario was there. It was great to see a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while. And, as we went down, James and I made a video on the way down, about 40 minutes, just talking about horses, racing, just lots of stuff. I never get a chance really to just hang out with my brother very much. Any of them. I see Curtis when we go to Lexington. I'll see him in Harrisburg. But I don't get a chance to just hang out with my brothers very much. We're all very busy, right? James is running around, golfing and driving horses. Curtis is every bit as busy as I am, and I'm always on the go somewhere. So we don't always get a chance just to be brothers. And it was nice to sit down and talk to James today. So I was really happy with that. I told him, he had asked me on the way down, he said, Anthony, are you looking at a trotting colt? I said, well, James already bought a trotting colt. He said, I know the family. He said, but you paid all that money for the trotting filly. Are you looking for something a little deeper on the trotting colt side? I said, well, my first inclination would be to say no, but I'm a sucker for a nice trotter, and if we find a nice trotter, then I can be talked into it. How's that? So I had 9 pacers I wanted to look at today. James had some trotting horses he wanted to look at, and I obviously looked at them also. We both saw this horse. We both agreed that one of the nicest looking horses that I'd seen that day on the trotting side anyway was number 45. Number 45, Sunday Royale. Might be a horse with a name change coming also. Sunday Royale, just a really, really nice looking horse. And I love Sweet Soul David. He was a nice horse. And, there's lots of good pedigree in this horse. But what we were drawn to was just the horse himself. Just a gorgeous horse. His video was nice. Everything about this horse just was likable. He said, what do you think you'll bring? I said, King of the North were pretty hot in Lexington. I suspect them to be hotter here. I'm going to say probably 80,000. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's that in U.S. dollars. But 80,000 is 80,000 today in Canada. So he said, wow, I don't know if... I said, well, you asked me. I'm not asking what you're comfortable paying. He's got a little touch of Merc in him, old Jam Pie. Likes to make the money, but not spend the money. I don't blame him. I wish I could do that. So, I had priced him, and I don't think either of us were super comfortable paying $80,000 for the horse. So I just left it alone for now. We're looking at horses. Wasn't really in a rush. The first pacer I wanted was in the latter part of the 40s. Another one was 81. I wanted to look at him. I saw this absolutely stunning filly out in the cross ties, or out on the floor. By Better's Delight. We'll talk about her in a minute. And then a couple other horses, and James found another horse that he liked. Now James, much like me, was always looking for value. He was picking out a couple of my MVPs, obviously his Hasty Bid, who we had bought for him down to the Harrisburg sale all those years ago, and knew that they maybe weren't the flavor of the day, so to speak. That was going to be reserved for King of the North and Green Manalishi. But I will tell you this, little side note, old Muscle Mass may flexed his muscle a little bit today. There was a couple of them went for a lot more than I thought they'd go. Very good for him. So 45 comes in the ring. He stalls out around 45,000. The bid spotters today, they were tough. And tough in not a good way. I ended up buying the horse. I'll bounce from 2 stories. I bought the horse for $62,000, but I believe 62 was offered at that point. They had made the offering of 62. I don't believe that was me calling out or asking for 62, if I'm not mistaken. Now, obviously 62, much less than 80, probably a number that both James and myself was pretty comfortable with. I think he'll compliment making green very, very well. And again, 2 really nice colts with nice videos. I thought that was a more than fair. That was a strong buyer's number, in my opinion, for number 45 Sunday Royale. So it wasn't a hard buy. I guess I'll talk about the bidder thing in just a second. So the next horse I was bidding on was number 49, Marine Sealster. Obviously, Marine Sealster was on my list. This was one of my top picks in the sale. I liked the horse, and he was built big. Like, I mean big. I liked him a lot, and I also loved the Bulldog number 81, who was tall and lanky. So they were not stamped the same. They begin the bidding. I get in a little bit on Marine Sealster. I was going to say I was the underbidder. I'm not certain I was the underbidder on this horse. I think he went for 80,000 or 82, somewhere around there. Maybe 85. He didn't get to 90, I know that. So as I say that, I don't think I was the underbidder. I was in somewhere around 72, 75. And then that voice in my head, which I've learned to just listen to. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. But there was a voice in my head saying, maybe just let this one go. So I did. That's right. Drinking Tim Hortons. Retro Tim Hortons cup. A long time ago, before Starbucks, I'm a tea guy. Now the tea from Tim Hortons in Canada, very good. Very, very good. The tea from Tim Hortons in the States, not so good. It's like somebody burnt their mouth on the Tim Hortons tea when they first opened the stores in the US and sued them. And Tim Hortons says, we're going to need the tea at least 9 degrees colder out of the machine or out of the pot, whatever, for our customers. And it's no good when it's that temperature. It needs to be hot. You guys are tea drinkers out there, you know that. This is nice tea. It's hot, like scalding hot, or iced. That's it. There's no in between. In between is terrible. So I rather like the tea from Tim Hortons. But the tea from Starbucks is garbage on both sides of the border. My opinion, that's that. So, Marine Sealster, I let him go. I thought that was the price. That's what I thought fair market was on this horse. But I let him go. Not a problem. I liked 81. But the next one I really liked was 78. Now, don't need a pacing filly. We got the Bulldog filly. I love her. She looks great. And quite frankly, I'm gonna say something here that upsets me from time to time. I don't think I've ever had a good Betters to Like. One that wowed me, one that raced good for us. Nope. We had some that raced okay, but we paid a lot for them. I've never had any luck with Betters to Like. Maybe I'm the only one. I have no idea. But this was just an absolutely gorgeous filly. Century Neon was her name. I'm sitting there and I'm watching her. I'm bidding on her. 35, 45. How did that go? $45, $50. I look over and it's Dale Fritz bidding against us. I said, okay, never mind. And he sees me, and I've known Dale for 20 years plus. I know his whole family. I said, all right, whatever. So he gets the horse and went for like 57. Something like that, 55, I don't know. I think I was the underbidder. No, I was the underbidder. So we didn't get the horse. Go to 81. I loved 81. 81 was Valor Sealster. This was the first foal from a Always Be Mickey sister to Limelight Beach. That entire family is just killer. There's like 5, 6 really, really good horses in there. Limelight Beach is in there. I don't read all of them. I really thought we could get this horse. So, here's where this started. Valor Sealster goes to, I bid a little bit, then I get out, then I got back in. He was stalled at 100. 100, 110. They want 110. 110. The guy looked at the guy and said 105, and he said, no, 110. I said, absolutely not. I'm not bidding 110. I looked right at him and said it. He goes, 110. I said, no. 105, and that's it. Now I'm getting mad. Like, you think this is my first rodeo? Like, I haven't bid to sales before? Like, this might be the worst bid spotter on planet Earth, bar none. Because what's happening now, he's now slowing the sale down. Now, it's almost become an argument between him and I, where other people could have get in. Now, at 100, there probably wasn't anybody else getting in. But what he's done is he's now stopped the sale. So now the auctioneer looks at me and he says 110. I said, no, $105,000. He takes the bid, 105. Somebody bids 110 right away. I look over, it's Jack Darling. Jack wants horse, gonna get him too. Bang, hammer goes down. So now I'm a little miffed. Now I'll tell you this. My favorite horse in the entire sale on the pacing side was the Stay Hungry colt. Bar none. There wasn't another horse, there wasn't a bulldog or a cattle wash looked as good as this colt. None. And there were some good looking horses. And there are tomorrow too. We'll talk about that in a minute also. His name was Mascarpone, yeah. He was a Stay Hungry. His pedigree was good, but the horse just looked. If you'd have said, could you just make me the perfect looking horse and have 4 white feet and have him really dark, just look really nice, had that really strong looking head and that long foretop, could you do that for me? Yep, there he is right over there. He's by Stay Hungry. He's right there. James and I looked at him. James goes, he says, Stay Hungry. Oh my God. If he'd have been a Bulldog Hanover, he would have brought $250,000 today. And no disrespect to Stay Hungry, but you're selling him in Ontario. It didn't matter where. You could have sold him at a farm show. You could have sold him at an antique market. You could have sold him anywhere you wanted, and he was going to bring a lot of money and a lot of people to look at him. So anyway, the bidding starts. We get to 70. I said, 72. The guy says, no, you have to bid 75. I said, this isn't my first sale. I'm not bidding 75. 72. Nope. Now, same auctioneer looks down. I said, 72. He goes, 72. Somebody went 75 right away. The guy looks at me. I get up and walked away. I was so mad. The sale continues. I don't think I was the underbidder, but I was mad. I walked away. So just to let you know a little secret, if you're out there watching and you're I know how the guys in Lexington do it in Harrisburg, and they are infinitely different than these guys. First off, you have to look for all the bids. There was one time the guy was bidding like behind me 1 row and 5 rows back, and the guy's looking at him. So there's him bidding and another guy over there bidding. They're going back and forth. I'm right in the middle trying to bid, and I'm looking at the guy. Hey, hello. The guy looks at me. Oh, yeah, he takes my bid. You can't have tunnel vision when you're a bid spotter. I think it's kind of an important thing to have good vision and to be looking at a lot of people at the same time. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's almost a necessity. And then for the bidding company, take every bid you can, because you're slowing the sale down. Take mine at 72, take his at 75, take that guy's at 76 if you want. Just keep it moving. And twice that guy slowed the sale down. I didn't let him slow it down too much the second time, because he got up and walked away. Honestly, I'll be honest, I don't even know what the horse went for. He might have went for 90, he might have went, and I might have stayed in. That's how much I liked him. I was so mad over what had just transpired, not once but twice. I just get up and walked away. It's just costing you money. Anyway, it didn't matter. I was, as you can tell, I was still a little miffed over it. I was just miffed over it, honestly, because it just felt, at the very least, like I've been to auctions, well, here, all over the states, every auction in every state. Bid on horses almost in every state. I bid on horses in Australia. The exact same thing. That's kind of the job, right? I couldn't believe. I almost got like really angry about the whole thing. And I don't really care about anything when it comes to the sales. I get it, but you got to keep the sale moving. Anyway, those were the horses I bid on, and then as I was leaving, as you can imagine, that was an hour ago. So you can only imagine how angry I was an hour ago. I get up to leave. And James said, whoa, what about hip number 129? I said, hip 129? He goes, yeah. Remember my MVP I showed you? Oh, yeah, right. I said, I meant to tell you at the time, you realize we had that mare, right? Miss Shazam, a yearling trotting filly, very good family. But I said, James, you know we had this mare, right? Which mare? Fox Valley Shazam. Yeah, trained her down, 100%. I don't remember her. That says a lot right there, doesn't it? But in fairness to him, great video and a very, very good looking filly. So I'm leaving at hip 110. At hip 110. I said, I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. If you want 129, we can buy 129. It can't go for 20. Has to go for a lot less. And you're taking upwards of a third of this horse, just so you know. That's the deal. So I'm driving down the road. He said, I bought her for $18,000. I said, all right, fine. You know, and it actually worked out well because after we bought Highland Fire and Ice, I did have a number of people message me. And you know who you are. You know exactly who you are. And I felt bad. The horse was just too expensive for them. They couldn't afford to buy an $1,800 American share. So I was, I guess if nothing else, subconsciously looking for another horse for our clients. I thought Making Green worked out well, but if you liked the trotting filly, what did you have? Having said that, I just can't go buy a trotting filly just to buy it. Well, this is a horse that both James and I liked. And I do remember Fox Valley Shazam, and I actually don't mind her. I didn't mind her. I thought she was okay. You know who she reminded me of? Blue Rare. That's who she reminded me of. Slick gait, just didn't put it all together the way we wanted. Blue Rare got another chance as we turned her out and kept her. I don't think Fox Valley Shazam did. In fact, I know she didn't. I think, if my memory serves me correct, Steve bought her and bred her as a 3-year-old, if I'm not mistaken. Because her pedigree is and was strong. Was and is strong. Is and is strong. So we ended up with 3 horses today. I didn't talk about the other one because it was sent to us. You know, I love this whole conversation. So Dr. Haley Moore, a long time ago, had sent us a really nice trotting filly and kept most of her because she believed in the mare. She thought the horse went for far too less. Didn't want to sell shares for that, or at least all the shares for that, and sent the filly to us. And she ended up being an exceptionally gifted trotting filly, and we sold her for a lot of money partway through her 2-year-old season. She ended up making $500,000 or $600,000, I believe. So Haley Moore comes up to me today, and for those of you who know, Haley Moore is who has our horses in Kentucky, New Pioneer Farms. She was selling a Sunshine Beach colt named Caveman Pioneer, and it said, I think too much of the mare. The first 2 foals didn't have a lot of luck. You know, there was a number of things they didn't race, didn't work out. But before I just let the mare go, I wanted to give her one more chance, and I just thought, you know what, I would rather buy the horse back and send the horse to you than sell the horse for nothing and see it go to somewhere that maybe it wasn't going to get the best opportunity it could. And, you know, that she said that meant a lot to me, and I'd said this to you in a video last week. You know, when a breeder says that to you, what they're saying is, we think you do a good job. We think you get the horses to the races, and that's the biggest thing. And this horse will have an opportunity to be the best it can be in your training. That means a lot as a trainer. That means that, you know, that tells us that we're noticed. People see that we're getting horses to the track. People see that we're doing good. And that, to be honest, is one of the biggest compliments that we can get, is that people are happy when we get their horses. So I was happy. So Caveman Pioneer, number 20, is going to come to us. There won't be any shares available for a while, if ever. That'll be up to Haley. But he'll be in our training program for now. We bought number 45, Sunday Royale, who both James and I agreed was one of the nicer, I won't say the nicest, I don't want to offend anybody, one of the nicer King of the Norths that we saw in the entire sales pavilion today. Now, I will give a little guidance with that. We didn't look at every single one. There was some I didn't look at. But this was, of all the King of the Norths that we had, this was my favorite. How's that? And then James bought for us, for himself, bought number 129 at a Fox Valley Shazam. He loved her. He kept talking about her all day long. Miss Shazam. This is the my MVP filly out of Fox Valley Shazam, the muscle mass filly that we actually, James will have to look it up when he gets home. We actually did have, trained her down, and I liked her very much. So that's what went on today. You can tell in those remarks that there was no pacing colt spot. I was the underbidder on 3. Now, that's not true. I just told you I was not the underbidder on the Stay Hungry colt, but I very likely could have been the last bidder on it had I not been so miffed at the sale. And I was the underbidder on hip number 49, I believe. I was most definitely the underbidder on hip 81. And I was the underbidder on that beautiful Better's Delight filly, Century, whatever her name is, 78. Century 78. Century Neon. So that's what took place at the sale. As the sale was going on, I get a message. Great trip by Xena. I'm thinking, oh, thank God, Xena raced good. Went and watched the video. A winner in the maiden. Not only was she a winner, she was collared coming out of the last turn and fought back on to win. Here's a filly that came back to Ohio, trained, entered in Dayton, scratched, sick because she was sick. Now I will give you an update also. Jerry's girl trained, they said she trained great today, scoped pretty good. Her SAA is climbing. It's not going in the right direction. And Dr. Latessa is a little bit baffled with this. He changed her antibiotics today, and quite frankly, if that continues to climb, I may have to make the difficult decision to scratch her again. And I don't want to say that. I know that Randy and Bob just got their Virginia license. I just got mine too. But I'm not going to race a sick filly, and I'm certainly not going to truck her 6 hours to do it. As of today, physically, without the modern tools of the scientific tools we have today, blood work, scopes. Well, the scope was fine. I'm curious to see how the blood work is going to come back. Without these things, you would never know there was anything wrong with this filly. But something's going on. I'm not sure what, and we're trying our best to get to the bottom of it very, very quickly. All I can report today is she trained good. We have a number of horses that are entered in Corbin this weekend. Somebody messaged me, said, Anthony, why would we leave the Meadows with Neptune so they could stuff them in the open? Well, here's my take on it. They don't want people just trampsing into Kentucky with all this money. They're very aware that there's a lot of money on the table in Kentucky. And they don't just want to give it to anybody. Could they have entered Neptune in the Open 2? Open 2? Yep, they could have. And that's likely where he'll go next week. But they weren't going to give him a free pass. And not that the Open 2 is a free pass. But they weren't. We just paced 50 twice. So Kevin, the race secretary, is looking at his line saying 2 wins in a row, third and 150. His last start, you're going to the Open. And that's how he went about it. But make no mistake, he would have to be an entry when time is on my side in what is going to be a $13,000 Open on Friday. And going for 13, or he can race for 40 on Sunday, or he's going to race for 25 next week and have a pretty good shot at it, I hope. So we're just going to have to bite our tongues for this week, because no matter where we went to race Neptune, it was going to be an Open, I would imagine. Just looking at where we generally race, Northfield, Meadows, Cumberland Run right now, there wasn't any soft landing for Neptune this week, unfortunately. Rock Shining Stars in the Open 2, again, if you're going to race against tough pacers, you may as well do it for $25,000. He would have been in the same place as Neptune in the Meadows, and they already stuffed him in the Open 2 last week at Northfield Park going for 17. So you may as well, if they're going to just take his entry and use him wherever they want, let's make it worth some money. So he's in for 25 on Sunday also. Zena Kemp, here's the question. Do we turn her out, race her in the non-winners of 1, Kentucky non-winners of 2, same class she was in today, or the stakes? I wouldn't go the stakes. I was very, very pleased with her race today, but I wouldn't be against racing her once more in the same class. Eric's retort to that was fair and not far off completely accurate. Well, we could turn her out and bring her back and she still fits non-winners of 2. Well, yes, but most of the non-winners of 2s anywhere are non-winners of 2, fillies, mares 3. Usually, she's not going to be ready till right before the stakes next year. And if she's good enough to be a stake filly in Oak Grove next year, she's certainly good enough to race on non-winners of 3 or 4 if they ride in Kentucky. My vote would be, man, she was good today. Let's try her in there one more time. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say. Not really sure what that means, but I think what it means is put her back in to go next week in the non-winners of 2. Everybody else was good today. Was happy with what I saw in Ontario. Now, Thursday afternoon, I'm going to make my way back to Ontario. Friday is the Breeders' Crown. The draws aren't up yet. I can tell you that there is 20 horses, 2 divisions of 10 for the 2-year-old Breeders' Crown elimination for the fillies. And there is also one division of 10 with 2 buys, it looks like, for the Breeders' Crown for, I'm just trying to look it up now. No, it's not up yet. The Breeders' Crowns are not up yet. Looks to me, if you have 12 horses, James is probably right. He said they'll likely give 2 horses a bye and race 10 of them. Top 8 make the Breeders' Crown final for fillies. So that's what's going on Friday. Saturday, as of right now, I would say there's an 85% chance that Cherry's Girl is going to Virginia. If we can improve her health, that would obviously improve the number. But we'll be keeping such a very, very close eye on her. She'll be leaving Friday afternoon. I would say Thursday afternoon and Friday morning, there'll also be SAA tests ordered on both of her. They're more snap tests, so you can find out in mere minutes what it is. That number was quite a bit higher than the number it was the other day. If it's gone down, I can go there, protect her, make sure she gets in the final. But that also means, one, we got her heading in the right direction. She's feeling healthy. If that number stays the same or grows, I don't think she's going to make it to Virginia. So the last thing we can do is just race her because, right? She could be and should be the best filly in the division, but she most definitely can't be if she's sick. And you'll certainly do harm if we try to ship her there and race her sick. So that won't be on the table at any cost. She will have to get one of 2 things from the vets on Friday: green light or red light, and there'll be no yellows. So we'll see how she is on Friday. But we are keeping a very, very close eye on it right now. So as for today at the sale, we ended up with 2 horses that shares are going to be available on, 3 in total. They're all heading to First Line Training Center. And all the Ontario breds will be training over there at some point. James is going to be playing a pivotal role in doing that with Johnny and Dominic and Jason for now, for the time being. A lot of people asking me about Jason. There isn't any change in it. I'm sure we all know how the federal government moves. Jason is not in any trouble, and I'm sure he'll be granted a pass as soon as he gets his appeal. And that appeal could be in a couple of weeks or as far as maybe a month or so. But he will be returning to Ohio. He is our trainer and will be our trainer. And I can tell you this much. Jason Merriman is feeling the pressure, doing a tremendously good job, and I've been very, very happy with the role he's played and the amount that he's stepped up in Jason McGinnis's absence. So a big shout out to him and Lauren again for picking up the slack. Thank you very much. Everybody in the barn, cleaning the barn up, it looks beautiful. And everybody in Ontario. James also, it's not very often. James is a leading driver in Canada. He could lay on his couch and drive horses 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week anywhere he wanted and not have to go to the barn. But he chose to play a pivotal role again in being a part of Highland Fire and Ice, and now at the very least a role in Miss Shazam today, and more than likely in the Sunday Royal. We'll see how that all plays out, but very happy with the way today went. Yes, we're on the lookout for a pacing colt still. We have 3 on our list tomorrow that I'm interested in. I believe they're all cattle washes, actually. There might be one Bulldog Hanover, I'm not sure. But that's something James and I will talk about tomorrow. Him and Jason will be heading down to the sale, as I will be busy racing at the Meadows. Now, I'm busy right now driving to Ohio. I'm going to get home. I think I'm going to get home in time to stop at home first, get changed, and head into Northfield Park. We'll see how things go on the highway, but I'm making pretty good time as we get closer to Windsor and the border. So, have a great day. I hope you guys have been following along. I apologize to all my partners that wanted that pacing colt. Listen, there's already about 9 or 10 on my list in Harrisburg. They're not going anywhere. I'm not just going to buy a horse to buy a horse. You know that. I was the underbidder on at least 1, if not 2 today. And quite frankly, after looking at the results, Ian Moore was the one that bought the Stay Hungry colt. So I was not going to be able to get him anyway. But Ian definitely saved a little bit of money via the bid spotters, who kind of annoyed me today. No detriment, you do what you want, but you gotta keep the bidding going under any circumstances. So take it for what it's worth. Take care. I hope, and listen, I appreciate all the nice things you're saying about the Jays as you message me. I've noticed that I'm mostly getting emails from the Yankees fans about the Blue Jays. Yes, they had it handed to them last night. They got beat up. They'll bounce back. They'll be fine. I don't want to talk about baseball today. That's tomorrow. Today is the horses. Great job by Maury yesterday in Cumberland Run. A great job by Zena today. Great job by Eric and by Kathy, and of course Scotty, who did a great job driving them. He's going to have his super gloves on for Neptune in the Open and Rock Shining Star in the Open too. But you know what? Both horses are coming in pretty sharp. Rock Shining Star is just trying to get over some of the virus. Not the same one as Cherry's Girl. But we'll have been cleaned up for the weekend. So with that, I'll let you go. Take care. I will talk to you soon. If you want to send me a message asking about any horses tomorrow, the only horses on tap for us tomorrow at the London sale will be Ontario-bred pacing colts. So if you have a list of pacing colts that you wanted to run by us, I'd be happy to look through it. If I'm going to be frank, it's going to have to likely be a cattle wash or a Bulldog Hanover. If we're going to buy a pacing colt tomorrow, it's going to have to be one that makes a lot of sense for us to do. Otherwise, it'll be off to Harrisburg with yet another pacing colt request on our list. So take care. I'll talk to you soon. Good luck to all my partners tonight and the rest of the week. I will be back in Ohio in about 3 hours.